Okay, guys. Now we still be continue with what partial fraction. Like what I did in my previous video, I did an explanation of what a partial fraction is. To separate a whole fraction to what a single fraction, part fractions. That means two or more, depending on what the denominator. So for you to be able to know the numbers of fraction you're going to have, you need to what, be able to know the number of what denominators because they determine the number of fraction. But in this case, we only have one denominator. But note one thing, don't forget this. It is possible for us to what? To factorize it. If you look at it, we can factorize it to what? Give us two denominators. So it's always the number of what? Factorizable denominators that tells you what? The number of partial fraction you're going to have. So let's try to see it. And in our last video, don't forget, we used elimination method to solve this. But here in this video, you're going to be using quadratic method to solve it. Now watch. I won't write solution, I'll just go straight to the point. So equivalent to. Now, to separate, we actually need to know what. Let me use an equals to first. We actually need to factorize this first. A lot of us don't know how to factorize quadratic equation, but just watch. I'll just do a brief and straightforward explanation to that. So let's factorize this. 3x squared. 3x squared plus 4x minus 4. Now, to factorize a quadratic expression that can be factorized, first step is to multiply the first and the last term. So if I multiply this to this, I would have minus 12x squared. Now, the next thing I do is to look for two numbers that when I multiply, I have what these numbers. And when I add or subtract, I have this. I have the center number. So what are those two numbers? I can just see that is 6 times 2. But one has to carry a negative sign since we have minus. One must carry minus. Now, which one will actually carry minus? Since this is plus, so it's actually the smaller one because 6 minus 4 is plus 4. I say now, but don't forget to put your x. So what is left for me now is to substitute what I have here into the center in place of 4x. So I would have 3x squared plus 6x minus 2x minus 4. So you can answer that what 6 minus 2 is still 4. I see now. So you should return back to the same thing. Now let's factorize. Now notice something. What is common here to these two terms? 3x, right? So I'll bring 3x. When I bring 3 here, I'm left with nothing as a number. I just remove one x because they have x in common. So I'll be left with just one x in brackets. So plus what? 3 into 6 is what? 2 times, and x is already out. So we have what? 2. Minus, same thing applicable here. Something is common. And what's that number? Minus 2 is common, not just 2. Minus 2. So I remove minus 2, and I'll have what? X plus 4. I remove minus 2, not only what? 2. So always note this 2 rather, because 2 into 4 is what? 2. Always note that the bracket must always be the same thing. If they're not the same, it's either you're wrong or the quadratic expression is not what? Factorizable. I get it? So you pick one of them that are equal, x plus 3, and x plus 2 rather. And you also pick the ones that are outside and put inside the brackets. 3x minus 2. If you multiply this back, you return back to this. So this is actually correct. So let's bring it here. So I can also say that this is equal to what? 5x plus 2 all over what? X plus 2. 3x minus 3. Minus 2 other. So okay, so I can have this. So you can now see that there is no way I can factorize this again, right? This is the simplest form of factorizing this. So I stop there. That means we only have what? 2 possible factorizable denominators. Because there are some cases that we have a quadratic expression that cannot be factorized. There might be 2, a linear and a quadratic. But the quadratic cannot be factorized. That's a different case. This one now is now linear denominators, where the highest power of the unknown is what? Just 2. So I'm going to be using this method. So I'll print this, and I hope you understand that. So I can write this down here as 5x plus 2 all over x plus 3, x plus 2, bracket 3x minus 2, meaning I'll have 2 fractions. So it's equivalent to what? So let's say, let the numerator, since we don't know them, should be a and x plus 2. plus b all over 3x minus 2. Please, if you don't understand, watch my previous video so you understand more about this. So how do we get this now? We have to get rid of the fraction. I'm going to be explaining this, and I'm saying, in case you don't get it, go to my previous video. You get? So I'll multiply this. This is the LCM, right? I have to clear the fraction. So I'll have to multiply each of them by the LCM to clear the fraction. That's the way of clearing the fraction. That's the only way. So I multiply each of the term throughout by the LCM, which is this. This is still the LCM. You get? Because each of them can go into it. So it's the LCM. So I'll multiply the whole of this by itself. So they'll cancel out, and I'm left with this one, 5x plus 2 equals to. Now multiply the whole of this by this. I get it now. So x plus 2 would cancel x plus 2. You are left with this times this, right? So a 3x minus 2. Watch carefully. Plus. Now in the same case, I multiply the whole of this, the LCM, by this. And this would cancel this. I'm left with this. B bracket x plus 2. Sorry, here is hot. So I'll get this. So we come down. Now, in elimination method, we stopped at this point, right? We stopped at this point, then eliminated the eliminatable. So now in this case, pardon me for that. In this case, what would you use? We are using what? The simultaneous method. We won't do that. We do what? We open brackets. We open this bracket. So we have the 5x plus 2 is equals to. Now open a times this number before letters. So it will give what? 3ax minus this times this minus 2a plus b times x, bx, right? B times this plus 2b. Now, at this point, if you notice, these two are carrying x. I can bring them together as 5x plus 2 is equals to 3ax plus bx. Since they're carrying x, I bring them together. Now, this one they are carrying no x. The x, keep them one side. So I can have plus bracket what? Minus 2a. Minus 2a, or let me just please the brackets. Minus 2a plus 2b. Minus 2a plus 2b, right? Now, we can just come down and have that 5x plus 2 is equals to, now the current x, something is common, I can factorize it. I can have 3a plus b, bracket what? X. Multiplying it back, we return back to the same thing. So minus 2a plus 2b. Now, how do we actually solve at this point? Now we can see that this equation is comparable on both sides because they are similar. Now, this x and this is a number, like a single number. So it's acting as a coefficient of x, as well as 5 is acting as what? A coefficient of x on our left and right hand side, rather. So what do you do actually at this point? Is to equate the coefficient of what? X on both sides, since they are comparable on both sides. So I will say equating the coefficient of x. So I'll have that word 3a plus b is equal to what? 5. I've now gotten an equation 1. I can also come down. This one now that I without anything, I'll call the constant term. They don't carry any letter with them, apart from this side. They don't carry any x. I guess it. So I will say equating the constant term. That means minus 2a plus 2b equals what? 2. Equation 2. So let's solve 1 and 2 simultaneously. And now, solving it simultaneously, we can either solve a simultaneous equation either by substitution method or elimination method also. But in this case, let's use the both substitution and what? Elimination method. So how do we get that? Now this is equation 1. Please pardon me, let's come back to this side. I have no space, so I won't continue there. So if from here now, I have to what? To use elimination method, try to look for a way that they can make them to have the same thing, one of the letters to carry the same coefficient. So they can either add or subtract for it to what? Be eliminated. Because there's no how I can eliminate this when these two are kind of the same thing, even I add 1 to 2 or subtract. But by making one of them, their coefficients to be the same thing, I can get to that point. So let's try to see how we can eliminate B. Let's eliminate B. Now to eliminate B, I have to have 2B here. So that when I have 2B minus this will give me what? 0. And I have A left. Right? So since I'm going to do that, I have to multiply the whole of this by 2. So that here will be 2. So I would say times 2 for the first equation, and I'll have what? So you have to multiply everything by the 2. So I would have 3, that's 6A, plus 2B equals 5. This is my 1 now. Equals 10 rather. 2 times 5 is 10. Same thing, I multiply 2 by 1. Always do it. It's still nothing. It won't change anything, but just do it to show that you're multiplying both things to be the same. So I have minus 2A plus 2B equals what? 2. Right? So this is now what? A simultaneous equation which can be eliminated because they can carry what? The same coefficient. So to eliminate this, I have to subtract. But you don't only limit the subtraction to these 2. You subtract everything. So I'll just say subtract. In this case, I will say subtract 1 from 2. Okay, let's use 2 from 1. You should always know. So I subtract 2. That means take equation 2 and use it and remove 1. That means 10 minus 2. You are removing 2 from what? 1. Right? So I can now have this. So subtracting 2 from 1, I would have 6A minus 2A. 6A. Are you watching? Let me bring it down. 6A minus 2A. This will definitely change to plus because minus times minus is what? Plus. So 6A plus 2A is what? 8A. Take note of that. Now remember that if you are subtracting this, this is now 0. 2B minus 2B, 0. So equals what? 10 minus 2, which is still 8. So it therefore tells us that what? A is equals to what? 8 divided by 8, which is equals to what? 1. That is dividing both sides by 8. So you have this. 8 is cancelled out. So we have gotten the value of A. Now, how do we get the value of B? There are so many methods also. But in this case, let's use what? Substitution method, the simplest method. So you can substitute 1 into any of the equation 1 or equation 2. So let's say substitute A is equals to what? 1 into 2. Into 1, equation 1. That is equation 1 in this case. So now I have 3. In place of A, we put 1 plus B equals 5. So 3 plus B equals 5. So B is equals to what? 3 would come here, becomes 5 minus 3. It's positive here. When it crosses the equality sign, it becomes what? Negative. So we now have what? 2 as an answer. So definitely A equals what? 1 and B equals what? 2. So therefore A all over x plus 2, which is the partial fraction, B all over 3x plus minus 2 is equals to what? 1 all over x plus 2 plus 2 all over 3x plus 2. So definitely we've been able to separate what? A whole fraction to what? A partial fraction. If you return this and simplify it back, you return back to this. So definitely, please note this is a negative sign. This is our partial fraction. So if you've learned something today, don't forget to watch, subscribe rather, follow and share this to anybody who is interested in this. Thank you. See you later.